Good morning. Good morning. What's going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. 7:59. All right, it just turned 8. Just turned 8. I was trying. I tried right there. Sometimes I feel like I owe you guys 30 seconds. I owe you guys a minute. Thank you for being here, everybody. Tuesday, November 18th, 8 a.m. on the dot. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Thank you for the support of the channel. Greatly appreciate everybody going out of their way and grabbing some content here on the channel. Of course, it always means a lot, so thank you very much for doing that. We got a busy show today. I do got a guest. My brother is coming on. Trevor Lane of Lakers Nation is going to join the show. Looking forward to having him on. So let me do this. Let me kind of get the rundown all going. Let me kind of get everything all set up for the show. And then we'll get everything started here and try to get just a little bit of content in here before Trevor gets in. Once Trevor gets in, I get the hell out of the way. Basically, I go grab a cup of coffee. I'm like, Trev, take it from here. It'll be a fun show today. Lakers got a game coming up as well, so we'll have 2 shows today. So obviously have the show this morning, and then, of course, have the show later tonight as well. So let me give everyone a quick rundown what we got going on for the show. I'll take a look at the comments, and then we'll get things started. So LeBron, yesterday when I was doing the show, we knew that we're probably getting closer here. Well, you can't get any closer than this. I mean, I guess you technically can. LeBron upgraded to questionable. He did talk yesterday after Lakers practice, so got a couple of quotes from there that I want to kind of marinate on, I guess you can say. So we'll talk LeBron and his potential return with the Lakers tonight and a lot of storylines that come with that. I mean, believe it or not, a storyline that says LeBron is coming back potentially tonight leads to a lot more stories around LeBron James. So we'll hit on all that. Lakers do got the Jazz tonight. So late tip-off, 7:30 tip-off. Do these people not have any respect for, my time? I mean, I'm doing a show at 8 a.m. Do I really need to do a post-game show, turn back around at 11 o'clock at night, and then turn back around with a morning show? Can we stop with the 7:30 tip-offs already? I mean, what is this? We live in America? I have no idea what that means. All right, Lakers and the Jazz. Lauri Markkanen. I'll spend a little time on Lauri Markkanen. That dude's a stud, by the way. If you guys have not watched Lauri Markkanen at all this season, tonight you're going to get a chance to see him, and he's a phenomenal player. I look forward to games like this because, I know there's not a lot of attention that goes to the Utah Jazz, so we get a chance to talk about one of the more elite players in the NBA. I know he's not top 10. I know he's not top 15, but Lauri Markkanen's a really nice player. He's putting up some crazy stats. Trevor Lane of Lakers Nation, I mentioned, is going to join the show, so we'll get a chance to obviously get his thoughts on the Lakers season so far. I put this on here. There's some power rankings and 3 different outlets yesterday. I guess most of these people do it on, a Tuesday or a Monday, whenever they do it. NBA.com had power rankings yesterday. The Athletic had power rankings yesterday. USA Today had power rankings yesterday. I only think one of those outlets were correct as far as where they put the Lakers. I mean, some of them are absurd, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, I don't want to go crazy here because it's a Tuesday morning and we still got the rest of the week in front of us. But what the hell are some of these people doing who are putting these things together? I don't know. I just thought the Lakers should be in a certain spot. They had them in a different spot. I only think one of the outlets got it right. I'll break some. We'll talk a little bit about that. NBA news. There's a few things around the NBA that I want to hit on. Unfortunately, some injuries in the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Victor Wembanyama. So there's some players that are going to miss some time, and obviously some key players in the league we'll hit on. And then I'm going to end the show. By the way, 9 o'clock today, I'm out. I just want you guys to know that. I got to be somewhere at 10. Takes me about a half hour to get all this stuff up, and then I got to get the hell out of here. So at 9:01, I'm out. All right? I just want to set the stage up right now. Yesterday, I played full court basketball. Wasn't in the intention. You guys know I went one-on-one. I got called out on one-on-one. Somebody's just like, hey, you want to play one-on-one? And then another time, it was 3-on-3. And this is the first time I actually played some full court basketball in a really long time. I need to go back to half court. And then I got one other thing to bitch and complain about the gym. Listen, guys, I want you guys to know something. If I have things that I could bitch and complain about and we could all kind of share in a similar thing, there's another thing going on at the gym that I got to bring up as well. Like, I'm talking high school, 15, 16-year-olds. Is there like a trend going on here that I don't know about? What's going on with everyone flexing in the mirror? What's going on? Put your shirt on. We'll get into it a little bit later. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel. All right, let's take a look at a few comments here, and then we'll get the show started. Slee, get your knee intact. Can we go 5-on-0 in next 5? Listen. I realized something yesterday. It was very important. We have to just play half court. If we're going to go anything, we're just going to go half court. We're going to go from there. All right, let me get a couple in here. I don't think Dalton should be in the rotation. Disagree. I think Dalton's actually had a little bit better games as of the last week or so. If there's opportunities for him and you need a dude to run, put Dalton Connect in. Let's see what he can do. Now's the time to be playing some of these guys. Ocean Breeze, the magic in your childhood wasn't because you were a child. It was because you were living in the present. Ocean Breeze, I appreciate your contributions to this show, brother. 7:30 tip-off in OG Prime Ticket. Damn, that's back in the day. Prime Ticket. What channel was Prime Ticket on? Wasn't it on 29? I know in San Diego growing up, it was on 29. That's what Prime Ticket was on. What's up, Al? Big game tonight. Hopefully LBJ plays tonight. Let's go. Tonight is the night. All right, there you go. We got everybody's thoughts here. Let's get started. People want to talk LeBron. We're going to talk LeBron. So yesterday, LeBron talked at practice, and I read a great article. Dave McMenamin had put out an article. Here are all the quotes, everything else. So I caught myself up to speed on everything. Listened and the whole thing. So LeBron had a couple quotes there that really stood out to me. To be honest with you, I think to be honest, there's a little bit of sympathizing with sciatica, and I've never had it before, so I don't know what that means. I don't know what the pain level is. I don't know what the pain tolerance is. I had somebody on the chat mention this to me not too long ago that said something like, hey, if you've never had it, I've had it before. It's awful. It's terrible. Well, there were some quotes LeBron had yesterday that I'm going to point out here and we'll talk about here for a quick second. Let me read exactly what he said about having sciatica and how it's affected him. He said, it definitely sucks. Never in my life since I started playing the game of basketball have I ever not started the season. So it's been a mind test. I'm built for it. It's been putting in the work, both mentally and physically, trying to get myself ready to rejoin the team. He said, if you've never had it and people are making jokes about it, I pray you never get it. It's not fun. You wake up one day, you hope when you step down from the bed that you don't feel it. You go to bed at night. You hope when you're in bed that you don't feel it. So I've been doing pretty good with it as of late. And just basically also said a couple things about how for him right now, it's about getting his conditioning right, his lungs ready to start playing NBA basketball again. After his interview, the Lakers will typically send out the night before. They'll send it out to all the media. Here's the latest status report. That's why you guys will see people kind of clip that or they'll screenshot it and they'll put it out to everybody on social feeds. He's listed as questionable. So LeBron has been upgraded. This is the closest we've got to LeBron James playing for the Lakers. And like I said, he's listed as questionable for tonight's game against the Utah Jazz. You know, I started thinking about, there's a few angles that I have here on LeBron that we'll start the show off. We'll start the show off with. But I think for me, I got really genuinely no idea what to expect from LeBron when he comes back to the Lakers. I mentioned this yesterday. My biggest concern with LeBron is just his health. He said it in that quote as well, that he's never been in a situation like this before, a predicament like this before, where he can't be LeBron James. He can't start the season and it's LeBron. You know, if I'm being completely honest with you, a little concerning, right? If he's never been in a predicament like this before, where the regular season is about to start and LeBron can't participate in it, he's never been in training camp. Is that a sign of what's to come for LeBron? Hopefully not. But it is his 23rd season in the NBA. I think as we get ready to see LeBron on the basketball floor, whether that's going to be tonight or that's going to be on Sunday when they play the Utah Jazz. They have 5 days off, by the way. After tonight, they got 5 days off. So it just kind of gives you an idea how the Lakers have been cranking out games. And then we'll get a second. We'll have a little bit of a breather here moving forward. But it just kind of I just don't think there's a way of predicting what kind of LeBron we're going to get. And you want to be optimistic about it, but you also want to be realistic about it. They want to be very strategic with LeBron this year. And I think the beauty of the position that the Lakers are in, they've clearly shown they don't have to have LeBron every single night to go win games in the NBA or in the Western Conference. They could be a top 4 seed, even if LeBron's not there. Now, if they want to accomplish real goals, and if they want to go mano a mano against a team like the Denver Nuggets or the Houston Rockets or the Minnesota Timberwolves or some of these other teams, I do think they're going to have LeBron. But the questions are going to start of what's it look like? How much are things going to change? You guys know how this works. If the Lakers go on, if LeBron comes back tonight and they're 2-2 in their next 4 games, who is everyone going to blame? They're going to be like, well, the Lakers aren't good because LeBron's back. If it goes the other way and they go 3-1 out of 4 games, and now all of a sudden they're adding to what they're doing, it's like, hey, look what LeBron brings to the table. All that stuff, I think, is going to work itself out. I don't know what the starting lineup is going to look like. I'm not 100% sure what the rotations are going to look like. I just know that from a content perspective, we're all going to be watching, and there's going to be a lot to talk about once LeBron comes back. I mean, hell, there's been a lot to talk about before he even started. I mean, if you think about it, LeBron and the media still doing a pretty damn good job of getting the media's attention, and he's still a top storyline. That's always came with LeBron. The question is going to be just what the team looks like, how they can build off of this start, and how much LeBron adds to this team. And like I said, for me, it's always going to be about his health, because we have never, and let's not ignore this, it's just the truth, we have never started a season in the 20-plus years LeBron has been a part of the NBA where he has not been there. And I don't think we've ever had a season where LeBron's not the best player on the team, and he's not the best player on the team. It's Luka Doncic. So it's going to be fun to see LeBron when he does come back. I hope he comes back tonight. I hope the Lakers can start building off some of the momentum that they've had here over the first 3 weeks or so, almost a month now. Actually, about a month now since the season started. Okay, Trevor Lane's coming up here in a few minutes. I'm going to try to get to some comments here before we get started, and then we'll go from there. All right, here we have. All right, here's one. I've had it. It's nerve pain, lower back, goes down my left outer leg. Okay, that's not good. It's shitty, painful, not a kidney stone, but it's draining. Okay, did you get your coffee? Brother, don't worry, I got my coffee. Today was an early one, up at 5 a.m. this morning. I had some stuff that I had to take care of before the show, so today was an early one. So I went into Starbucks. I couldn't even see what was going on. I was just like feeling my way in there, and I'm just like, just get me coffee, guys. What kind of coffee do you want? Do you want medium or dark roast? I said, guys, just get me coffee. How many times do I have to say it here? I need coffee. I don't care what kind of coffee at this point. All right, let's get a couple more in here. They're playing the Jazz back-to-back. If they even have close games, LeBron is ruining the chemistry. Storylines are going to be the storylines. I will tell you this. It's interesting. I said something a little bit earlier that LeBron still kind of LeBron topics still kind of control the media. I got to be honest. I think on this channel, not really for me. And I think this is, honestly, I think it's a compliment to the channel. I think people like, at least from what I've noticed with the channel, maybe they like less drama on the channel. They just kind of want more, talk hoops with us, talk basketball. Yeah, I know I could get some of that other drama in other places, but I feel like here there's a little bit more of let's talk some ball. Sleet, heard you preview on 570. So for those who don't know, part of the iHeart partnership I'm doing, AM 570, I do Laker reports. I record them kind of late at night or early in the morning, and then they air. I want to say right now they got them airing at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. So on 570, you could hear some reports, and you could hear me promoting, obviously, the YouTube show, and then also how you're available to get it on the podcast as well. All right, let's take a look here at another comment or two, and then we'll get going from there. If you guys want to, tell me what you're most looking forward to or the biggest questions surrounding LeBron when he does come back, go ahead and start go ahead and start throwing them in the chat. And what I'll do is when I'm having the conversation with Trevor, I could look at some of those questions and then we can go from there. So again, if you guys thoughts, questions about when LeBron comes back, what does it do to the rotation? Anything that you think adds to the content of the channel, feel free to throw it in the comments. And as Trevor and I are talking, I'll try to, reference to some of the comments and go from there. Okay, speaking of Trevor Lane, let's add Trevor into the mix here. Good morning, my friend. What's going on, Trevor Lane?
Morning, Alan. How you doing? Thanks for having me back on the show. Always fun to talk Lakers basketball with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you, brother? It's good to have you as well. And I know we're no short of content these days. Good stuff. Great start for the Lakers. I know you and I kind of were talking before the season started and preseason basketball. It's like, do we know what we have? 10-4 to start out the season. What are your initial thoughts on the 14-game stretch here?
I mean, it's a great start to the season. Now, statistically, are they a little above their heads? Maybe a little bit, but we'll take it because that's what you need during this stretch here. If you told me going into the season that no LeBron, Luka's going to miss time, Austin's going to miss time, Ayton's going to miss time, Rui is going to miss time, Jackson Hayes is going to miss time, Marcus Smart is going to miss time. All these guys are going to be out. The whole team just about is going to miss time in the first 14 games. What do you predict their record is going to be? I sure as hell wouldn't have said 10-4. This has been incredible what they've managed to pull off. Now, there have been some disappointing losses. Certainly, when we think about the Hawks game, the OKC game. But big picture, to be 10-4 right now, given the injuries that they have suffered, absolutely phenomenal.
Statistically, you mentioned there are some concerns there. What are the ones that stand out to you? I'll just point out a few, and you tell me the ones that stick out to you most. You could look at three-point shooting. Obviously, the Lakers have struggled from the three. Predominantly, a lot of that is Luka, and a lot of that is AR. But that's not to say that the rest of the team hasn't struggled from three. Defensively, you could look at some of those defensive stats, and there's some areas where the Lakers are going to have to be better. Are there other areas that stand out to you, and then also maybe the ones that you think are most important and improvable?
Yeah, the big one for me, it's turnovers. They are one of the highest turnover rate teams in the NBA. And we know that if this team is going to get to where they want to go, it's going to have to be on the offensive end. Right now, I do think they still need to add defensive pieces heading into the trade deadline, and perhaps that will come. We'll see what Rob Pelinka can conjure up. But if this team's going to get where they want to go, they need to be a top-tier offensive team. And I think they have the tools to do that. I think they've got the personnel to be a top-tier offensive team, but you can't get there if you're turning the ball over at the rate the Lakers are. They're averaging almost 17 turnovers per game, which is way, way, way too high. They have to knock that number down. It is a huge difference in your final point total. They're dead last in the NBA in field goal attempts per game, in large part because of the turnover issues that they've been having. So they have to get better at keeping control of the basketball, not turning the ball over. That is priority number one for me if I'm the Lakers. You've got to get more shot attempts up, especially if you are struggling from three the way the Lakers have been. You've got to make sure you're getting more shot attempts up. You can't be dead last in field goal attempts per game and expect to continue winning.
It's kind of weird because I would say from a turnover perspective, I think it's they can fix that. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I think if you told me Lakers didn't have established guards that, can control a game from the point guard position, obviously I'm talking about Luka, I'm talking about Austin Reaves. Those are two excellent ball handlers. I would say that there's some carelessness. There are times Luka will make passes. I'm like, Luka, what are you doing? There's times Reaves might get blitzed and maybe doesn't make the easy pass, and all of a sudden that's a turnover. I think if there's one silver lining in that, the good thing is that can be fixed. If you told me that they just had no personnel and this is what the turnovers are going to be, but I do agree with you. Obviously, let's play the math game. If you take less shots than another team, the other team's got a better shot of scoring more points than you. But that's one area I feel like. Do you feel like that's something hopefully in the next month 2 months, that won't be a conversation anymore?
Yeah, that's the great thing, right? Is that if we said, well, they're getting burned on the perimeter because they're not quick enough. Well, you're not going to make these guys faster. You're not going to suddenly give them the super soldier serum and make these guys better athletes, right? When we talk about the lack of athleticism for this team, but the turnover issue, a lot of it is decision making, a lot of it is processing, and to a degree, maybe we should expect turnovers to be a problem given the constant shuffling of their lineups, their rotations. I think they have had maybe 9 or 10 different starting fives at this point, just because of the injuries. So I think the revolving door nature of the team so far is going to inherently create turnover issues as well. And hopefully as guys come back, they get healthy, they get into more solidified roles, the rotation settles down. That can also help to mitigate this issue, in addition to just being a little more careful with the basketball and settling in as a team. So that is for sure the silver lining. It's that this is a controllable issue for the Lakers as compared to, say, an athleticism deficit. Well, there's not much you can do to suddenly get more athletic, but turnovers, definitely something the Lakers can fix.
Trevor, obviously today the big news is, it came out last night, LeBron upgraded. This is the closest he's been now to starting the 2025-2026 season. Could make his debut tonight, listed as questionable. I don't know if this is being talked enough about. I think a lot of the conversation is, well, what's going to happen? What's the trickle effect? And LeBron he's back in the lineup, and who's coming out of the starting lineup? Is it going to affect chemistry? All that. I put all that to the side for a quick second. The only thing that I'm curious about when LeBron comes back, and I think this is, I feel like this is not discussed enough. He'll have missed significant playing time to start the season for the first time in his career. He'll have missed the season opener he's not in a training camp for the first time in his career. He's doing something no other player has ever done in the history of the NBA. He's going into his 23rd season in the NBA, and we know all the minutes he's logged and everything else that he's logged. How much is your concern just, is he good? Because that's the only thing that I'm paying attention to. We didn't need LeBron to play 82 games this year or 72 games this year. We just need LeBron to be healthy at the right time. And clearly the fact that Luka's on the team gives him a little bit more leeway and a little bit more time. How much is just his health on your mind as he gets ready to start his debut?
Yeah, I mean, when he's going to be 41 in December, so in just over a month, he'll be 41. Health has always got to be a concern. Can he stay healthy? And that is, again, maybe the silver lining to all of this is that he does start the season a little bit later. He does get a shorter window of games there before we do hit the playoffs. But it's something they're going to have to monitor. I think that they very consciously took the approach of, we're going to be careful with him in the early going. We heard it way back in media day that they're going to be very careful with LeBron James. They're going to be thinking more towards the future here. And so I think that's going to afford them well in this situation. They're going to make sure that they do everything they can to get LeBron out there healthy. He's going to play, I would assume, a limited amount of minutes in the early going, let him fully ramp up and get into the season, and then go from there. But health is always going to be a concern when you've got a player that's his age. Fortunately, he is still extremely productive. That's what we saw last season. He could still be extremely productive out there on the floor despite his age. So I'm excited to see him get out there. But yes, health is going to be really important for him this season. He's got to stay on the court as much as possible, and that may require him to miss some games here and there. I think that we're now, it's unfortunate, but I think it's a lock at this point that LeBron will not be eligible for awards this year. Sure. Because I just don't see him not missing more games here. I think the Lakers are going to be very, very careful with them. They're going to be cautious, and he will be sitting out certain parts of the schedule here coming up, and that's okay. What they need is LeBron at 100% come playoff time.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you said. It is okay, no problem. I mean, if they're gonna achieve any of the goals they're hoping for, and by the way, if I ask you that question, what are, okay, I know a Laker fan's going to say, if I say, what's the goal this year? People are going to say, well, it's a championship or bust. I'm curious to kind of get your thoughts on that. What is, as we look at realistic goals, as we look at the way this team is constructed right now, fourth in the Western Conference, a lot of teams right below them, they're only, they're close to where Houston and Denver is as well. Is there a way to kind of assess a goal for the Lakers right now? Or is it, hey, let's get through the next couple of months. Let's see what happens at the trade deadline. You mentioned to try to go out there and get better defenders. We saw what happened with the Lakers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's not a Laker Thunder problem. That's an NBA Thunder issue. Everybody's going to have the same issue with the Oklahoma City Thunder. As you look at the team, what are, from a goal perspective, what are the goals you think short-term, long-term, and how do you feel like they get there?
So I think there's two goals that you're trying to accomplish. And goal number one has got to be winning a championship this year. And that is, the Lakers are not going to deny that that's what they want to do this year. They have a window right now where you have LeBron James, you have Luka Doncic, you've got Austin Reaves on a fairly cost-controlled contract still for one more year. Mm-hmm. And then that gives you the ability to potentially really put something special here together. So winning a championship right now has got to be the goal. And that means adding pieces to this roster. Now you need to see some things, right? We need to get the whole team on the floor so you have a real sense of what is it we're lacking. We can look on paper and say, well, they need more athleticism, they need more shooting, they need more defense. I think those things will hold true, but they need to see the full team on the floor to really have a sense of where to prioritize. So that's going to be important here. Getting everybody out there. Yesterday was the first day they had all 14 full contracts available for a practice session. We could see the full team available for the first time all season tonight against the Utah Jazz. So that's number one. It's trying to win a championship with this team right now. But the second goal that they've got to try to accomplish is building a team that can also win for the next 5 years through the lens of what's going to work with Luka. That's going to be the secondary goal for them. So as they are looking at, can we add pieces X, Y, and Z here at the trade deadline? Can we add this guy or that guy? They also have to make that decision through the eye of, is this a piece that's going to fit next year, the year after that? Is this, if we're going to give up the 1 first-round pick that we can trade right now, are we getting a guy who can be part of the next 5 years with Luka Doncic or not? And so you're trying to accomplish both of those goals at the same time. Win right now, while at the same time putting pieces in place that will also be long-term fits with Luka.
Yeah, it's an interesting position to be in because we'll throw out some names. Yesterday we were having a conversation with DeMar DeRozan had come up, right? Mm-hmm. I think that when you start thinking of every move that you make has to keep in mind. I think the short term, there's a 36-year-old on an expiring contract. Does that make sense for the Lakers? I don't think it's DeMar DeRozan. I don't think that's the answer. It's just one man's opinion, but I'm not even talking about the concept of that. It's more the concept. Any assets that you have going out, are you planning, well, is this guy going to be with Luka for the next couple of years? And I think that's what obviously you're referring to there. And listen, whether the goal, of course, the Lakers, the goal is always to win a championship. How realistic is that this year? I don't know yet. And I think it's fair to say, based off of not seeing the full roster, also seeing how good some other teams are, and then also knowing that, well, let's get to the trade deadline before we know whether this is a championship contender or not. What's some of the big, let me just assume LeBron's playing tonight. What are some of the kind of the question marks that come into your head in regards to stylistically, lineups, starting lineup, roster? Just what are some of the things that popped to your head if LeBron is a go tonight?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if he is a go, the number one is just going to be, what does he look like? Where is he at right now? How is he moving out on the floor? How does he feel? Because we can focus on role and all of that, and that is certainly important, but that's something that is going to evolve over the next few weeks, right? LeBron talked about how he's kind of the new kid coming into a new school, and he's got to now fit in with a group that's already established some chemistry. So that role and how he's going to play, that's all going to be a very much a work in progress. I'm curious physically, where is he at? What's the minutes limitation? I'm guessing it would probably be, this is just a guess, somewhere around like 20 minutes. We saw that last night with Paul George when he made his 76ers debut. So it's what does LeBron look like? Where is he at right now physically? Does he still have a ways to go? What can he give this team? And then from there, we can start getting into what is his role going to be and all of that sort of stuff. There are people out there that are very concerned about the chemistry of the club and concerned about LeBron's going to dominate the ball and all of that. To me, that's the complete opposite of what LeBron has been asking for years. I mean, literally since you go back to 2019, and he's been asking for the Lakers offense to run through someone else, for him not to have this huge burden. So I'm curious, can we get a LeBron James that almost acts on the floor as though he's like a rich man's Draymond Green. Can he be in that type of role? And based on everything LeBron has said, that he's not opposed to doing something like that at all. I don't think, for as often as people try to paint him as someone who only cares about his own stats, I don't think he cares at all about his role or stats or anything like that. I think he just wants the team to be successful, and he's going to figure out how to fit in. But I'll caution that if you are one of those people that are saying this can never work, this will never fit, LeBron is going to mess up all of the chemistry, you're probably going to have some ammunition in the first week, 2 weeks. It's going to be bumpy at first. It always is when you bring a player the caliber of LeBron James back. But I do expect that over the long run, they'll settle in. And frankly, for this team to reach their ceiling, they need LeBron James. So I'm curious to see what the initial thought process is behind how LeBron fits. But for me, the bigger thing, what does he look like out there?
I feel like he answered that question last year. I really do. I feel like once that trade happened, a lot of these same questions were being presented, and people are saying, you can't have a ball handler like that. LeBron's got to have the ball in his hands. I think they adjusted just fine. And I'm not talking, what happened in the playoffs happened in the playoffs. I don't think it was because LeBron was hogging the ball. That's not what happened. So I have a difficult time when people want to make that argument. If they want to make that argument, made more sense to me before Luka was traded to the Lakers. It makes a lot less sense to me since we watched Luka and LeBron last season. So I'm with you in regards to that. Let me jump around a little bit. Let's talk about, some of the other guys on the roster. It's been the Lakers are 10-4, and a big part of it is they have a center. And I'm not telling you he's a perfect center. And I'm not telling you that he's a top 5 center in the NBA, but I think Ayton has certainly done his job with the Lakers. And whatever your expectations were coming into the season, he's surpassed my expectations so far. Now, listen, is he going to have a really bad game against the Oklahoma City Thunder? Are we going to be critical about it? Sure, of course we are. But is he also going to perform well in the Spurs game against Wembenyama? I thought he performed well against Giannis and Miles Turner against the Milwaukee Bucks. He seems to be bringing a nice little energy to the team as well. His pressers, he's, comfortable. He's got a good personality. It feels like he's being himself. And whatever's happened at other stops, I can't judge. But I can judge what he's doing today for the Lakers. What have you made of Ayton? What are some of the things you like? What are some areas that you want more from? Just overall thoughts on Ayton.
Sure. We've seen a little bit of both sides of DeAndre Ayton. There was a 3-game stint starting with the beginning of the road trip where he was kind of low energy, didn't look like himself out there, was not hustling. And you kind of went, oh, that's the guy that, the Blazers fans, Suns fans were talking about. But aside from that little blip, and I don't know what that necessarily was or was attributed to, he's been great. He's been great for this team. He's developing a real pick and roll partnership with both Luka and Austin. The little 15-foot push shot that he's been getting to has been good. The Lakers have been trusting him as a decision maker right around the free throw line. They're happy to hit him on the short roll there and then let him either be a passer or attack off the dribble and go. He's got a nice soft touch around the rim. I think he's really put an effort on the glass as well. And I'll tell you, Alan, there was a moment in their last game against the Bucks, which was a great win, maybe the best win of the season, certainly one of the best wins of the season.
Phenomenal win.
There was a moment, and to me, it stood out, and I think it showed Ayton is bought in here. Giannis had the ball in the paint. Giannis spun, pump faked, and Ayton jumped. He left his feet. Giannis got him in the air, drew the foul on him. It was Ayton's fourth foul. He kicked the ground. He was so mad at himself. He was frustrated that he had made that mistake because he knew how important his defense on Giannis was. He knew how important it was that he stay in the game and that he stayed disciplined. And for the large part, I thought he had a great game. Did he stop Giannis? No, nobody's going to, but I thought he made Giannis work in that game. And it was a big question going in. Who's going to defend Giannis in this one? It turns out it was DeAndre Ayton. And seeing him so mad at himself in that moment for making a mental mistake told you how focused he was in that game. And this is a guy who's not always known for being focused. So I think he's given you everything you could ask for. Now, I would like to see, I talked about at the beginning of the show, the turnovers being an issue. Ayton has been a high turnover center. I think he's got to be a little bit careful in terms of when he brings the ball down. You can't be getting 3 to 4 turnovers a night out of your starting big man, who's mostly going to be a catch and finish guy. Occasionally in a decision-making role, he's got to cut down the turnovers a little bit. I don't want to see the energy waning for a period of a few games too. That could be a little bit of an issue. But overall, for an $8 million center, what the Lakers have got out of him, he's been absolutely fantastic. I'll say that we went into the season asking the question, or saying that the potential is here for DeAndre Ayton to earn himself a spot as the starting center with Luka Doncic for the next 5 years. That's possible. He could accomplish that this season with the Lakers. I think he is closer to earning that job than not right now from what we've seen so far. Long way to go. We're 14 games in. There's a lot of basketball left to play, including the playoffs. But right now, I think big picture, he's done everything you could possibly hope that he would do.
He's doing his job. I mean, and I think, everybody has said this, that it's a perfect marriage. By the way, Ayton needs the Lakers as much as Lakers need Ayton.
Yep.
I think there's a platform for him. He's on a team that's always going to get spotlights. Obviously, he's playing with true, real, great playmakers, which, certainly helps for DeAndre Ayton as well, because there's so much attention in other places. So great start for Ayton. Let's see if he can build that momentum. He's got obviously another game tonight where the Lakers will need him. Why is there so much love and attention and excitement on the Rookster? I asked you this question because I feel it too. We got a chance to see Adou Thiero in his, or at least an opportunity to get on the floor in his first game. And we got a chance to watch him against the Milwaukee Bucks. Bronny had a nice bounce pass to him on a fast break late in the game where he dunks. And why do you think there's so much excitement towards Adou Thiero? Is it because there's an unknown, there's an unbelievably athletic player that if I'm trying to build you the type of player you want to see in the NBA that can have a lot of success, you're like, give me 6'7", 6'8", athletic, high flyer, can play two sides of the ball. Why so much early excitement on Adou Thiero, you think?
I think it's three things that are combining. And number one is it's the shiny new toy effect. We haven't seen much of him. He's this rookie. He's exciting. We don't know what to expect exactly. There's that effect to this, where every time a team gets a new player, you're going to hype up that player. You're going to be excited about that player. Number two, I think if he does hit, the Lakers really need his skill set. They've been begging for a player with athleticism on the perimeter that can do the things that he can do, especially if you get somebody that can throw down highlight reel dunks. That is certainly exciting as well. And that's going to create extra intrigue because the Lakers legitimately need what he theoretically can provide to this team. And then the third thing is we're seeing other teams around the NBA that are having success with second-round picks. We're thinking about Will Richard in Golden State, think about Ryan Kalkbrenner in Charlotte. We're starting to see that become more of a thing where you've got deeper draft picks that are stepping into the NBA more ready to contribute. So I think that adds to the optimism that, hey, this guy could actually step in and be something for this team immediately in year one. I've been trying to pump the brakes, trying to temper expectations. Hey, we got to make sure that we give this guy time to get his legs under him. We saw 3-4 minutes, something like that out of him total in one NBA game. I've already got people asking me if he should start all this, whoa, we got a long way to go here. Let's give the kid time to grow and develop. What I don't want is people getting their expectations too high and then getting disappointed. What I'd rather do is say, hey, we're expecting him to take some time here. It's going to be a process. And then if it turns out he's ready to go right away, wonderful. Let's celebrate that. Let's be pleasantly surprised. But let's not make that the expectation. But I think it's all those things that have created so much intrigue around Adou Thiero.
I think it's easy to talk about, some of the when players have good games or they have a couple good game stretch, it's easy to talk about them. And we start kind of jumping into the whole, oh my gosh, what's this guy, the potential, all that stuff. Let me jump into a player where we have highlighted, got very excited about, and then things have quieted down for him, LaRavia. So Jake has clearly shown, I think the thing I like about Jake LaRavia is you can clearly tell, hey, this guy's a basketball player, just very simply put. I can get 4 or 5 assists. I can grab some rebounds. You don't have to just depend on me. I'm not just an offensive weapon and that's it. What do you make of the start of his season? Because I think I really genuinely believe this. I think he's kind of still figuring it out, just scratching the surface with the Lakers. I do feel like he's still got games in him where we're going to be looking back and saying, hey, LaRavia had 18, 4-4 tonight. And I obviously not on a consistent basis, but I think there are games like that will be there for him. What do you make of his start? What are some things that you feel good about, and some other areas that you feel like, all right, he's really got to improve upon?
Yeah, I think the inconsistency comes on the offensive end with him. He had a few big games shooting the ball, but that's not really going to be his thing. You're not going to run plays for him. If he has a high scoring game, it's because the defense dictates that the ball goes to him, and that's the right play to make. And then he took the shot at the right time. I'd like to see him be maybe a little bit more aggressive shooting the basketball, but he's not going to be a 15 plus point per game. Not right now at just barely 24 years old. That's not what he's going to be every single night. What he can be is a floor spacer on the offensive end. He's a ball mover. He will consistently be a ball mover, but the scoring, the point total, that's not going to be a night in, night out thing. And so that's where people will look and say, oh my gosh, Jake LaRavia disappeared. What I would encourage people to do is he is a watch this guy off ball. Watch Jake off ball defensively. I asked JJ about Jake in Memphis a couple weeks ago and said, hey, how is Jake fitting in with this team? What's he been doing well? And JJ said, I'm paraphrasing, but said, everybody focuses on the offensive end because that was right when he was on a heater and he was hitting all these shots. He said, but really it's the defense. It's what he's been doing defensively that has me the most impressed. And if you watch his off-ball activity, he night in, night out will make plays, will do things that will never show up in the stat sheet, but still go a long way towards helping the Lakers and blowing up what the other team is trying to do. So he's been really good there. He does still make mistakes at times. There are times where he looks a little out of sorts. He might get beat every now and then, but I still think Jake LaRavia could be a solid glue guy for this team here moving forward. You just can't expect a high scoring game out of him all the time. It's more when it happens, great, celebrate it, but don't expect him to put up a bunch of points night in, night out. But defensively, he's been pretty consistent, especially with his off-ball work. He's done a nice job there. And I think he's just going to be a solid team player here moving forward.
All right, two final ones for you, and I appreciate the time as always, Trev. One on the Lakers, and then one on just the Western Conference in general. So I thought Reaves against Milwaukee for the first time in a couple weeks looked like Austin Reaves. And, part of that obviously has to do with him coming off the groin injury, misses some time there, clearly takes him some time to figure things out coming back. I still think the Luka AR thing, there are a lot of times where it's not as smooth as I'd like it to be. One of the things I hate watching in basketball is your turn, my turn. I don't think that's obviously very effective. He had some clutch moments on a Saturday night in Milwaukee. Now, there was a little bit of this, but they weren't in the game at the same time. The way Luka closed out the third quarter, I think 8 straight points. And then there were key moments in the fourth quarter. Reaves hit some big-time threes, did some great things as well. What have you made of Reaves' season so far? Because he got off to such an unbelievable start. It slowed down. I don't think he needs to be this. Some of the numbers that he was putting up early in the season, number one, it's not realistic that those are going to last. But what's kind of a perfect night for Austin Reaves with LeBron there, with Luka there? How do you feel if you can walk away from the game and you said, okay, here's what Austin Reaves was able to do tonight? What's that picture look like?
Yeah, I think it's being opportunistic with his scoring. He will have his opportunities, his moments where he's going to be handling the ball in that high pick and roll. He executed that extremely well with DeAndre Ayton. That's also a strength of Luka's. So is there a little bit of overlap there? Sure. But I also think it's just taking what the defense is going to give you because of the presence of Luka. And Austin, the three ball has got to start falling at a higher clip. That's part of why he was so excited that he hit those shots against Milwaukee, was because he's not been shooting the three particularly well. Same is true with Luka, has not been shooting the three particularly well on the season. But there was a play that I think of that kind of encapsulates what I think Austin can be off ball. And so on that play, the Bucks, they blitzed Luka. They were trying to get the ball out of his hands. Luka threw a behind the back pass to Dalton Connect out to the perimeter. Connect then swung the ball to Austin Reaves. So in that moment, the Bucks are in scramble mode. Austin gets the ball in the corner. Miles Turner closes out to him, and Austin uses the dribble, beats the man, gets into the paint, draws over the next defensive player, which was AJ Green, and throws the lob to DeAndre Ayton for the finish. He was able to take the defensive pressure that Luka initially created, the Bucks being so worried about him that they sent two to the ball. A quick swing. Austin was put in a decision-maker role and then was able to read what the defense gave him. Miles Turner closed out hard, so Austin said, fine, I'm going to use your defense against, or your momentum against you, and I'm going to attack, and then I'm going to read the floor from there. If the man doesn't come, I've got the layup. If he does, I've got the lob, and I'm capable of doing whatever it is that the defense dictates here. I think that's what the Lakers have been at their best at. When they get in these advantage situations, they've done a great job maintaining those advantages and then reading what the defense gives them and burning them with that thing. And Austin, I think, is a great player to work in that kind of environment where he can beat you whatever way you're going to dictate. He's a pick your poison type of player. So that's what I envision for Austin when he is working off ball. It's once Luka bends the defense, being able to make sure that the Lakers maintain that advantage that he creates.
Yeah, I love, I've talked about this a lot on the show. I love AR, the creator. I know AR can get his own bucket, but I think the play, I could be wrong. This could be a little bit before or after the play that you're talking about. There was a possession where Reaves on ball finds Dalton Connect, who was very smart to kind of get behind the defense. He goes baseline, and Reaves finds him for, I can't remember if it was a dunk or whatever it was. I know it was a layup. And in my head, I'm like, damn, this dude can be also so effective as a facilitator. And I think sometimes he almost underestimates that in his game. Not necessarily, because there's a lot of games he has 6, 7, 8 assists, 10 assists, whatever the case is. But as much as it's beautiful to see AR hit a step back three, it's just as beautiful to see him find somebody who's cutting and just kind of show that there's obviously a lot to his game other than just scoring. Last one I got for you, brother. Lakers right now, if you go look at the standings, first, if you look at the standings in the entire NBA, the whole league, they're 5th in the NBA. 4 of the top 5, or I think 5 of the top 6 teams are all in the West. The Pistons are the one that have, are thrown into the mix there. In the Western Conference, Lakers are sitting at 4th. How do they stack up right now, do you feel, against those 3 teams in front of them with the Thunder, Denver, and the Houston Rockets?
I don't think they're on the same level as those 3. I think OKC is ahead of everybody else, and they've lost once. They're very clearly the best team in the NBA right now. I do have Houston and Denver ahead of the Lakers. Denver is probably the closest to being right there with OKC. That would be a phenomenal series. Once again, we saw it last year in the playoffs. They're playing at a very high level. Unless I missed something last night, I believe Denver has not lost in the month of November yet.
I think they just lost.
Did they just lose last night? I haven't gone through and done my watch on all of last night's games at this point.
Chicago by 3.
Oh,
randomly.
The Bulls bouncing back.
Yeah.
So Denver's been great. I have the Lakers in a tier below those teams, which is right where they were to start the season, where we thought they would be. Now, we thought they could fall anywhere in that kind of 3rd tier, if we want to call it that, in the West. We thought they could be anywhere, 4, maybe 3 through 6, 7, 8. So, somewhere in that mix. They're at the top of their tier right now because they're the 4, but they're going to have to, I think, make some additions to this team in order to get to that next level. Just because I think when we look at Denver, we look at Houston, certainly we look at OKC, they have fewer weaknesses than the Lakers have, and they're going to have to do some things to shore that up. But the fact that right now they're sitting in 4th, the fact that right now they've only lost 4 times in 14 games, given the context of their season so far, you love that. You love where they're at right now, and I'm excited to see what they're ultimately going to do. But they're going to have to, I think, still make some moves in order to get onto the same level as the Houstons, the Denvers, and certainly as OKC.
Yeah, I like the way you put it, because I think that's the reality. If the goal is, hey, we want to compete for an NBA championship, I'm with you. There's going to be a move that's going to be made, and they will have to add to what this roster has. And I know, I get it that we still got to see everybody together first, but I think that's a fair thing to mention right there. Trev, always very generous with your time. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Always fun. And let's get a big return for LeBron, hopefully tonight.
Yeah, I was going to say fun game tonight. Hopefully we get LeBron in there. So thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great rest of your day, okay?
You too, Alan. We'll see you.
All right, that is Trevor Lane right there. Good work, Trev. Good work, Trev. All right, I got a lot of stuff that we still got to do, and I know there's a lot of comments that I need to read. And what I'm going to, if I have some topics that I don't end up getting into this morning, I'm going to save them for tomorrow. So it's just something to keep in mind in regards to that. Okay, quick heads up. We got to take care of our partner. We got to give a shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. If you're in the state of California and you're saying to yourself, right, I got an issue going on, serious injury, wrongful death case. I need an injury attorney. I don't know where the hell to start. I don't know who the hell to trust in the industry. I can help you out. I could give you, at least make an introduction to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. You guys know I've talked about this before. A URL that we created, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. I'm going to give everyone just an example here. A couple months ago, there was an auto insurance company that made a $1.25 million offer to one of Brad's clients whose case was going to trial in Palm Springs. Think about that. $1.25 million. Seems like a lot. Well, the insurance company is always trying to settle. They don't want to get in no trial with Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. What did Brad do? After the jury was selected, he delivered his opening statement. The insurance company decided to pay Brad's full $2 million demand before the first witness was ever called to the stand. Why? Because they know his reputation in the industry. I hope you never need him. I hope this is not something that you ever need to reach out for. But if you do, things happen in life. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Or if you want to send me a personal email, I'm happy to make a personal introduction. So thank you to our partners, and thank you to all the listeners who support our partners as well. We greatly appreciate that. All right, let me take a look at some comments here. I know a lot of people got some stuff to say after Trev was on breaking everything down. If LeBron plays tonight, sit him for next one for a different look. Yeah, I think what Trev said, and I think there's probably a lot of truth to this. What Trev said about minutes wise, what are you really asking LeBron to do on his way back in? Yesterday, LeBron was saying that he's got to get back to, I don't know how he put it, grown man lungs or something like that. Whatever he said, it was something along those lines. LeBron's conditioning is going to be a bigger issue than anything else right now. His timing is going to be an issue. I think for LeBron, if he does play tonight, probably part of the strategy is going to be they know they don't have another game until Sunday. So they have kind of a second to feel this out. All right, how do you feel? How's your body feel tomorrow? What do you want to do practice-wise? Because there's going to be days where obviously Lakers have 3 games in 4 nights. They're going to have back-to-backs. They're going to cram 4 games in a week. But this one sounds like it's a little bit beneficial to LeBron to be in a situation like this. All right, let me get a couple more in here. HH, thank you very much for the super. Greatly appreciate that very much. Steve, can't wait to see what happens tonight when all 3 of them are on the floor. That's going to happen with the gameplay. This will be very interesting. We're playing the Jazz. No better team to play to see. I work in progress, right? If everyone's on the floor tonight and they look great, it doesn't mean that's how it's going to be all the time. If they look awful, it doesn't mean that's how it's going to be all the time. So I don't think there's really kind of a way to predict what happens here in regards to the Lakers and this game against the Jazz tonight. But I do feel like it's going to take a second for them to figure everything out. Okay, so speaking of the Jazz, let's jump here because I haven't got a chance to talk about Utah here. Let me just spend a couple of minutes here previewing a little bit of this game tonight, Lakers and the Utah Jazz. So where are the Jazz? They're 5-8 on the season. Sounds about right. This is Utah, right? This is a team that frankly, can't really churn it around. It's a really, really good basketball market. We all remember the days, if you're old enough, the Karl Malone, John Stockton days, get to the NBA Finals, losing to Jordan and the Bulls. Lakers used to have some battles with the Jazz. They've had some years. But the reality is, especially these last couple of years, they have not been competitive. So this is what Utah has done so far this season. I just want to point out some of their wins. They won against the Clippers. Okay, not that impressive. Beat the Suns. Suns having a pretty good year. They beat the Boston Celtics by 2. They beat the Pacers. Look at some of the points they're putting up. They put up 152 against the Pacers. They put up 150 against the Bulls. I think that game went into double overtime. I talked about it when I started the show. Lauri Markkanen is one of the most talented NBA players that does not get talked about. And primarily it's because he plays for the Jazz, and the Jazz just aren't relevant on a year-in, year-out basis. Do you know what Lauri Markkanen's averaging on a nightly basis? He's averaging 30 points a game, 6 rebounds as well. Not that much from an assist perspective, more just the machine offensively. 30 a game. So I think it's going to be fun to get a chance to watch Lauri Markkanen tonight and see what he brings to the table. And obviously from a Laker perspective, I hope what doesn't get lost in this game and LeBron plays, if he ends up playing questionable tonight, is the actual game. But I don't think it will. I think the Lakers have done a pretty good job of keeping business and seeing what they're able to accomplish from that perspective. Okay, let's take a look at a few more comments, and then I'll take a quick look at a couple NBA stories. And like I said, basically this morning we get till 9:00, and I'm gonna have to bounce out of here. Morning, Slee. LeBron needs to let Reaves and Luka cook, and Bron needs to concentrate on the Draymond Green role and fill the wings on fast breaks. A lot of people are using Draymond Green as an example, and I get the concept. LeBron obviously ain't Draymond Green. And what I mean by that is he's a lot better than Draymond Green. But I get the concept of what you guys are referring to. I don't think LeBron can play a Draymond Green role because he's just way too skilled. And Draymond, yes, is skilled, but he's just kind of Draymond understands the game, but what Draymond isn't is a threat on the offensive end. Obviously, LeBron, that's a completely different picture from that perspective. Plus, he can handle the ball and everything else. But I get the concept of Draymond. The concept of Draymond is be the kind of the quarterback on defense, get everybody in the right positions, offensively pick and choose when you think you got to be a little bit more aggressive than not, and just let Luka and AR handle things offensively. You'll still get yours, but orchestrate everything else on the defensive side. So I understand what people are referring to when they say that. Let's get a couple more in here. Let's see what we got here. Darren, we've seen Reaves struggle plenty of times. If he does, it's not LeBron's fault. Sometimes he just struggles against good defensive, athletic, and stronger guards. Of course. I mean, part of the Reaves story, to be honest with everybody, is some of that. Is Austin Reaves. There are times where teams out there just know when to defend him, how to defend him, know when to throw a double team his way, know when to not. He's going to try to foul bait, not put him to the free throw line. There's certainly ways for teams to obviously go up against Austin Reaves and make his life a little bit of a, I don't want to say a live in hell, but sometimes a live in hell. We got some NBA news here. NBA news I'm going to throw out there. I got a quick gym story, and then I'm going to get the hell out of here. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Solid couple of shows. Solid since the season started. I've really been enjoying doing these shows again, so it's been fun to do everything. Real quick here on the NBA front. Some crappy news in the NBA. Giannis Antetokounmpo exits Bucks loss set for MRI, a groin injury. Doc Rivers yesterday said, didn't look great. I can tell you that. We'll know more tomorrow. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Man, there's certain players I love watching in the NBA. Giannis is one of those players. Giannis could be missing some time. All right, jump around the NBA more. Then we saw this yesterday as well. Victor Wembanyama, Spurs Victor Wembanyama out for a few weeks with a calf strain. The only question we ever have with Wembanyama is, can he stay healthy? He'll be sidelined for a few weeks due to a left calf strain, sources told ESPN Shams Charania on Monday. So 2 big-time players, 2 guys that you could call the face of the NBA are going to miss some time because of injuries. I saw that yesterday. Awful. Speaking of injuries, but this one on a little bit different of a side, Paul George made his return yesterday. He said he felt good in his return to the court. The 76ers won 110-108 over the Clippers. Clippers now, I don't even know what their record is, 3-9, 4-9, something like that. maybe 4-10, but they're obviously struggling. Here's what Paul George had to say. By the way, only shot 2 of 9 from the field. He said, it felt great. It felt great to finally play basketball again. Been like 8 months since I played, so it was a long journey, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of hiccups, but felt good to finally get out there, and I felt good. I got to be honest with everybody. I kind of forgot about Paul George. Is that bad? I say that only because he hasn't been on the court, and he really hasn't been that effective for the Philadelphia 76ers, and you could give Clippers as much shit as you want. One thing that the Clippers did right is they didn't pay Paul George. Okay, last thing I want to get into from an NBA perspective. Did you guys see Darvin Ham is being looked at by the Pelicans? Former Lakers head coach emerges as named to watch for the Pelicans job. Willie Green lost his job. We know the start that the Pelicans started. What Pelicans started? I think 2-10, something along those lines. Mark Stein put this out there via his Substack, the Stein Line. For the time being, James Borrego is the interim coach. Joe Dumars is likely to undergo a full-scale search that involves interviewing multiple candidates, among whom could be former Lakers head coach Darvin Ham. So we'll see if Darvin Ham gets another opportunity in the NBA. The Pelicans, a little bit of a mess here. They got the injuries. I don't really know the direction of that team. Obviously, Zion Williamson, the head of that snake. Is that how you want to start? Is that the head of the snake that you want to have for your franchise? I would tell you that I would not want that to happen. Okay, last thing I got into, and then we're going to get out of here. I mentioned today we're hopping out of here pretty much right at 9. Played full court basketball yesterday. So I went from trying to shoot around outside of my office and a high school 9th grader asking if I want to play one-on-one. I took the challenge. Then maybe a little bit over a week ago, I went to go shoot around, and there were 5 guys. I was the 6th guy. I can't say no. You want to run threes? Sure, let's do it. And then yesterday, I go to shoot around. They're playing full court. I'm just like slowly transitioning my way. It's like very similar to how LeBron is working his way back. Let me tell everybody something here real quick. I think we're done with the full court. I think we're done. By the way, my shot is short. Every freaking shot I take is short. Yeah, I couldn't breathe out there. Let's be honest with everybody. I couldn't breathe. But it's good to be out there. Good to play again. I'm going to freaking break my ankle. I'm playing in Hoka's. I'm going out there to work out. I just want to go shoot around. Got to figure that out. Last thing I got here, and we're done. I got one more thing to bitch and complain about with the gym. Is there something I don't know that's going on with these 15, 16-year-olds? When I'm done, obviously at the gym, I go into the locker rooms. What's going on with these 15, 16-year-olds taking their shirts off in a public locker room and taking photos, selfies through the mirror of themselves while everybody's just walking around? I'm like, my brother, I got a towel around my waist without a shirt. You sure you want me in the background? I don't think this is going to go viral for you. They're not at home. We got animals everywhere. The gym I don't even want to go to the gym anymore and work out. I want to go there with a notepad and a pen, and I just want to take notes and just kind of talk about how we need to improve our society. Guys, you're not at home. Can we stop with the selfies in the mirrors in a public restroom? Guys just walking out of the bathroom. Another guy, some guys don't even have towels on and you're taking photos. You have a dude's ass cheeks in the background. That's how I'm ending the show. I know. I didn't want to do this, but I had to. I mean, I don't know what's going on at the gym. I have no idea what's going on at the gym. Guys, you're not at home. Can we act a little bit like human beings? That's all I got for everybody. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Thank you for hanging out. As much as I could bring in these personal stories, I'll try doing them. But I enjoyed the show today. Shout out to Trevor Lane for hopping on the show. Shout out to Brad Wallace of the Wallace Firm. I'm back on tonight after the Lakers take on the Utah Jazz. It will be late. We'll enjoy it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tonight. Thank you, everybody.